wasn't auto mirroring initially. But my name's Wycliffe. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of DealFlicks. DealFlicks is a really simple business. We get butts in movie theater seats. We're like Priceline, but for movie tickets. So very simple. Now, the way that this thing started was I saw this movie, The King's Speech. Did anyone ever see that movie? Okay, it was a great movie, but when I went and saw it, it was maybe 4 or 5 days after the movie came out, and the theater was empty. And so I started doing some research, and I found how many seats were empty in movie theaters, generally speaking. And we actually have a couple giveaways, just to make it a little more interesting. That's my friend and our designer, Taylor, in the back, along with Matt and Mike that are chilling in the back over there. But Taylor actually has some t-shirts for you. And so I'm going to ask 2 questions. We have a male t-shirt and a female t-shirt. So I'll ask the females in the rooms first. How many seats do you think are empty in movie theaters on average? So you have 100 seats. On average, how many of them are empty? Including things like opening weekend and Iron Man 3 and all that stuff. Any takers? Any guess? And whoever gets the closest will win. Go ahead. 40, I heard. 50% are empty on average. 70 on average. 60 on average. Anyone else? 56. Okay. All right. So who actually said the highest number? I think it was over there. And you said 60, right? It's actually 70. It's actually 88% of seats that are empty. So let's give, what's your name again? Kristen. Let's give a round of applause for doing that. And if the size doesn't fit, let us know. We'll try to swap out the size. But yeah, basically 88% of movie theater seats are empty. In fact, about 95% of seats are empty after opening weekend. So massive empty seat problem, right? Now, at the same time, the market is pretty big. In fact, 2012 was the biggest year ever in the history of the United States box office and international box office. So a question for the men out there, how big do you think the international market is with movie tickets, popcorn, and soda? And a given year.
International?
So, both domestic and international combined.
80 billion?
80 billion, okay, good.
20 billion.
20, okay, great. Yeah.
60 billion.
60, okay, good. Okay.
95.
95, all right. 110 billion, okay. So the research that we have actually suggests that $40 billion is spent every year on movie tickets, popcorn, and soda. So you guessed 20, right? And you guessed 60?
I guess.
So we need another t-shirt then. So we'll give one of you a t-shirt right now, and the other one just stop by our desk over there. So Taylor, maybe you want to give one of them now, and then
Raise your hand.
yeah, and then let me get your names again. Christian and
Mateo.
Mateo. All right, let's give them a round of applause for this guy right here. And that's it. Any questions?
This is like a meeting.
Anyways, big market, big problem, right? So we started this thing called DealFlicks, yield management for movie theaters, Priceline for movie tickets. We launched in July 2012, so about a year and a half ago. This is just another deck that I have, so I'm just going to buzz through some of this and talk about some marketing things. But now we're actually in 270 theaters. We have a lot of mid-sized theater chains now. Things have been growing a lot. That's our ticket sales graph, and in the red, that's our theaters. So that's been really good. And revenue's been good. And so we came out with this iPhone app last year, and it got featured a couple times by Apple, which was phenomenal. I'm going to talk a little bit about the problem that we ran into when it got featured. And it's kind of an interesting thing based around local marketing. And we came out with the Android app, and those are my co-founders. And we're raising some money, we raised some money, and that's about it. So this is the interesting stuff. This is the more data-driven case study stuff. So when I first was starting this, I wanted to see what is the consumer behavior. What are people doing? And most people were not buying discount tickets. In fact, about 95% of the time, people are not even purchasing their tickets online. 95% of the time, people are just walking to the movie theater and just buying the ticket over there. And so that's not really a normal consumer behavior. However, Groupon actually ran a deal for this movie called One for the Money. Has anyone ever seen that movie? Okay, no one's seen that movie? It was a bad movie. It got 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't even seen that movie. But the thing is, they sold over 100,000 deals, and Lionsgate actually surveyed the users and found that 93% of the people saw the movie only because of the discount. So only 7% were actually planning to see it. Then they saw the discount, they said, oh, maybe I'll see this really bad movie because it's so cheap. So that was kind of the impetus for us to feel like we could actually do something with this. And since things have been going really well, I'm going to skip to some of our case studies here. This is interesting. So this is from one of our movie theaters last year. It's a movie theater called Movie World out in Queens, New York. Just a one location movie theater. So after they've been with DealFlicks for about 4 or 5 months, we ended up increasing their net revenue and ticket sales and concession sales by about 4% a month. So not that big of a lift, but a good lift. And they saw about 50% of the people that were coming in were new people, and of the remaining people, 50% of those people were their existing customers visiting more often. So pretty good stuff. This other theater, Shady Brook, we actually did the survey, and they saw a lot of new people coming in, and they actually saw a lot of their existing customers coming in more often. So we actually ended up digging deep with these guys a little bit, and let me see if I can show you guys this little ad here. I don't know if the sound's going to come out. There's not that much sound to begin with. It's a pretty crazy ad. So we actually went to, what did I do here? Here it is. So we actually went to this theater, and then we're like, what are you guys doing? Because these guys started to really dominate our ticket sales. And it turned out they made this little ad. This is actually the ad they made. It's a terrible ad. But they made this thing, and they started showing it before the movie started, and that was huge for them. So Taylor actually made a nice looking ad, and we started distributing that to our movie theaters, and that helped a lot. And that also helped us get onto something else, which was this in-theater marketing concept, because we were struggling so much trying to figure out ways to market locally. It's really hard. It took us like a year to figure out anything that worked. And now we have a lot more ticket sales, but in the first year we were selling like a couple dozen tickets a month, and we could only tell people our week-over-week growth because everything else was just so terrible. But we figured out a couple of things that work with local marketing. Getting the theaters to market really works really well, because obviously these people know the theater and they're sitting in the theater. So if they watch the ad, they'll download the app, they'll use it. And then one of the other things that started to happen is these movie theaters started to put, let me see if I can find the website here. These movie theaters actually started to put banners on their websites. And so this was a lot of my co-founder selling this to people. And okay, here we go. So this is also Shady Brook. So as you can see, there's like a little DealFlicks banner on there. And then as you scroll down, there's some more here. And so we started to get that demographic to know about us and really use us. So that's kind of a biz dev play that actually started working really well. Then what we realized is, we need to really figure out who our demographic is, to all the points that you made earlier. And so we started the survey monkey survey that we're doing with people, and we were asking them a lot about them. And so what we found is that the majority of our users are female. What we also found is that the majority of them are married, about 60%. And we also found that the majority of them have children, anywhere between 1 to 5 plus. And so what we realized is that's our target demo. How can we hit that target demo while still being location specific? Because we did try to do things like mommy blogs and all those kind of things, and we would see a lot of people hit the site, but then there's no theaters near them, and so they just leave the site, and it's not interesting. And so what we found is there's this one company called Plum District, and it's kind of like a daily deal site for females and mommies. And so we actually set up this DealFlicks gift certificate program, and we ran it through there, and this thing just blew up. We actually ran this last month, and a lot of our growth has come as a result of not only this thing, but other people in that area talking about it, finding out about it, that kind of thing. So so that's been a really interesting thing for us in terms of trying to crack both the local and hitting our target demographic, which is a lot of mothers of children. So anyways, that's just a little bit about some of the consumer insights that we have. The concept of creating a DealFlicks community has not been implemented yet. However, we are starting to work on that. I would say, within a couple months we'll have that, where you can actually go in there and you can see all your friends that are involved in DealFlicks. There's a leaderboard to see who's bought the most tickets at your particular theater over the last month, and the winner gets some deal bucks. So that's something that we're going to be working on coming out with. And one of the things that I think we're launching this today, right, the subscribers modal. So now, and you would think, man, why didn't you guys do this a year ago? And there's many reasons for that. But now if you go to DealFlicks and there's no theaters near you, we'll show you a pop-up, and we'll ask you to give us your email address or your zip code, and then we can start emailing you once we have theaters in your area. So yeah, we're trying to capture people that don't have stuff near them. And as I end on this, the whole rationale here is we got, when we first started, we were all into like getting our app featured and getting press, and that was great, and we got a lot of people that would download the app, and we got a lot of people that were giving us good reviews. So as you can see, there's a lot of 5 stars, and then there's a lot of like really low ones as well, like 3 stars, and I think we keep going here. I'm looking for some of the 1 stars. Here's a 2 star, and Here's a 1-star, another 1-star. And the 1-stars are pretty much all people saying, there's no theaters near me, this thing sucks, I hate this thing, I hate you. And then the 5-stars are basically people saying, this is great, I have a theater near me. So we realized really quickly that press and getting featured in that stuff is great, but we get a lot of people that are frustrated. So we focused on local, then we found our target demographic, try to focus on local, and now we're figuring out ways to capture people that don't have theaters near them. So yeah, so that's a little bit about that, but I'll open it up for any questions or comments, and definitely love to hear input in terms of what we can do to be better. Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing some kind of a Spotify subscription model?
Yeah, so there's another company that's called MoviePass. They actually have this thing called, it's called MoviePass, and so it's like Netflix for movie tickets. You pay $40 a month and you get unlimited movie tickets, that kind of thing. Movie theaters really don't like that at all. They really hate that. But the way that MoviePass does it is they just take your $40 a month and they give you a Discover card, and you just swipe that Discover card whenever you see a movie. And so the movie theater gets paid the full amount, and that's how they're able to do it. But what we try to do is partner with the theaters and then try to do things where they are pretty excited about it, so we can, it does have to scale. Like, we can't go national immediately, so we do have that local problem. But we have really good relationships with our theaters, and now it's starting to scale. But that is a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 questions. The first one, how soon after a movie is released do you guys feature your deals?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It depends on the theater. So that's kind of what we realized can be our competitive advantage, because Groupon and those kind of guys, they just say half off and it's good for whatever. So what we did is we built a mechanism where the theaters can restrict things like opening weekend or the first week of the film or whatever it might be. They can do whatever they want. And so generally speaking, about 1 out of 3 of our theaters do no restrictions whatsoever. 1 out of 3 of our theaters do only opening weekend, and 1 out of 3 of our theaters do some other kind of restriction. So, yeah.
My second question is, have you guys looked at correlating with when the torrents are released for the movies?
Coordinating marketing with the release of the movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll do a lot of ads. Like, whenever new movies come out, we'll start doing ads with AdWords, and our affiliates will do a lot of ads for those movies.
I guess what I meant is, when torrents are released on Pirate Bay or something?
Oh, torrents. Okay, sorry, I missed that. No, I have not actually thought about that. Let's talk about that later and then see if we can do that legitly. That's great. Yes.
Is it hard to convince theaters that this is good for them, or are theaters mostly receptive?
It's extremely hard to convince them, but now they're getting more and more receptive. So it took us talking to about 100 theaters, and it took us about a year to get our first theater. And so it took my co-founder Kevin literally driving around in a van across the country and visiting theaters and shaking hands with them and eating steaks with them to get them to want to do it. But now, as a lot more theaters have opted in, it's getting easier and easier and easier. So yeah.
What do you think the barrier was with that?
A lot of it is you get these movie theaters and their gut is opposed to tech. Because when they think of tech, they think of Netflix, they think of DirecTV, they think of tech as something that's going to kill them. And so whenever they hear of new tech innovations, they're initially apprehensive to them. So that's one thing that's been preventing it. The second thing is that they make their decisions predominantly by going to these once-a-year trade shows. So has anyone ever seen the movie Cedar Rapids? Cedar Rapids? Okay, you guys haven't seen Cedar Rapids? That is a good movie. I will strongly recommend that movie right now. Please see it this week. It's with Ed Helms. So anyways, the concept of Cedar Rapids is it's like an insurance salesman in Ohio, and they have their yearly insurance conference, and it's like this big deal in their small world. And so with movie theaters, they go to the local trade show once a year, and they'll walk around and they'll see what speakers they want to buy, or what digital projector they want to buy, or what things they want to opt into. And that's generally how the decision makers make decisions. They usually don't go online and do research or anything like that. They typically like to have that very high hands-on sales process. And so as a result of that, they've been missing out on a lot of the technical innovations that have happened over the last couple decades. And so we'll kind of go to them, and they do these golfing things at these things. They drink a lot at these things, and so I don't go to these as much. My co-founder Kevin goes a lot. He actually ended up getting gout. I don't know if you know that, but he's gonna kill me. I probably shouldn't have said that. Don't say that anymore. But, it's out now. It's out. So he got this gout thing because he was drinking so much. Driving around the country with his theater owners. So the company's done well, and now he has to drink this little liquid thing once in a while. But it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, those are some of our, off the top of my head, kind of feelings toward that in terms of why theater's been slow to adopt. But now things are starting to roll along quite nicely.
So I guess the things I would say is it seems like there's a lot of room for habit formation. So why is it that people, like when are people going to this? Are they going to this when they're like, oh, I want to go see a movie, I might as well get like a cheaper ticket?
Yeah.
Or how do you get people going to it all the time? How do
Right.
you get people going to the movies? Why don't people go to the movies?
Right,
Do you know
right.
why they don't go? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sort of tapping into that, what is it different? What is different about a movie experience versus
Right.
like staying at home and watching it?
Right, right.
Can you tap into anything in that? Can you like incentivize people with something based on that, right? Can you also pair it with popcorn? Can you pair it with something else? In terms of like gaps that people might experience, right? You see something that you see a trailer for something you really want to see.
Right.
And then the movie doesn't come out for some time. By the time the movie comes out, you forgot you saw the trailer, you forgot how great it was. Can you
Right.
have a queue already in place, right? Can you say like, check out the trailers ahead of time, here's a queue. As soon as this ticket is available for you, we will notify you,
Yeah.
right?
No, that's
so,
brilliant.
So as far as like, as much as you can get this to be something that people come back to and they don't just look to when they need a movie ticket, but it's something that's like proactively reminding them that they should go to the movie.
Right, right. Absolutely. No, that's really brilliant stuff. Some of those things we've implemented, some of them we want to definitely implement. So one of the things that we started to do to trigger people is send these emails. So we'll send these emails twice a week, which basically show them the movie deals in their area on Tuesdays and on Fridays, and that really triggers people to kind of come back. We want to get into push notifications as well. We just haven't had a chance to get to that yet. And then we definitely do the popcorn. That actually makes up the majority of our sales is ticket plus popcorn or ticket plus soda. The best thing, hands down, is the ticket plus the small popcorn, because what happens is, and this is actually something that I'll just show here really quickly, and I know we don't have too much time, so I'll end here pretty soon. We surveyed our users and we found that over 25% of them buy at least one additional concession for full price at the theater. And then at least 25% buy 2 or more additional concessions for full price. And about 10% buy 3 or more concession items for full price. And so what's going on here is the ticket popcorn is really popular. You buy that and then you end up with a small popcorn and you're like, oh, I need something to drink. So you buy soda and the popcorn's too small, so then you end up buying another popcorn, and it's just like this. It's this upward spiral, as we like to call it, for us. Not good for health, but good for DealFlicks and and so that has actually been an interesting consumer pattern. But yeah, we're still just, I think, scratching the surface in terms of learning and implementing. We have this other thing that we want to come out with later this year called Deal Alerts, which is basically what you mentioned, where they can watch a trailer and say they want to see it and kind of queue it, and then we can email them or push notify them when it's available. So yeah, we haven't had a chance to implement so many things, but we think over time we can do a lot of good stuff. And then how much time we're out?
Tied to the deal alerts, can you also notify me like before the movie's gonna stop showing? You've missed out on so many of them. I'm like, oh, I want to see
I love
that.
that. Yeah, it's like there's 2 days left. You have to do this now. That's brilliant. I haven't even thought about that, but we'll probably put that in there. So this is great. And
I have time.
oh, there's time? Okay.
Were you able to meet any of the cinema chains?
Yeah, we've been talking to cinema chains for quite a while now, so I'm pretty good friends with them, although we haven't signed them up yet. But I think that will happen soon. What happened last year in our seed round was Warner Brothers came in at the tail end of that thing, and we've been waving around that flag quite heavily. And so as a result of that, we've been getting meetings with some of the bigger cinema chains, and I do think that they will start to come in slowly but surely. I think this year it seems like Cinemark, we're getting pretty close to them. One of the board members likes what we're doing, and he owns some drive-in theaters, and he wants us to test it out with his drive-in theaters. If it goes well, he's going to recommend us to the board, so he says. So we're pretty excited about that and some progress that we're having with AMC, but not yet. But sign up for DealFlicks, and we'll email you once we have it. Yeah.
So how many of the people who buy these tickets is it for individuals, like groups?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like single household?
Yeah.
Because there may or may not be friction involved in rounding people up and like I'm on DealFlicks or not. What is that?
Absolutely. So we're seeing average ticket size of 2.2 tickets, so a little bit over 2 tickets on average. Over the holidays, we saw a massive amount of 3, 4, 5, 6 ticket bundles that were purchased, and so obviously families, right? For us, it worked out really well this last holiday season because Christmas was on Wednesday and New Year's was on Wednesday, and so everyone did all their family things then, and then there's this huge gap of like nothing to do. I mean, how many saw movies over the holidays in the theater? Okay, some of you. Okay, San Francisco people, you guys are working tech. You do your own thing. But generally speaking, most people saw some movies and multiple movies. So what we found is people would go, and we did a lot of surveys in our SurveyMonkey and asked people qualitative things like, how did you find out about us? And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, my sister and her kids, they've been using DealFlicks for a while. I saw them over the holidays and they like raved about it. We used it and now I'm using it. And so there was a lot of that kind of family word of mouth that was going on. We see a lot of one person finds out about DealFlicks and they buy 2 tickets and they go with someone else. And then they have to obviously tell that someone else that they bought it through DealFlicks sometime during that process. Either at the box office when they whip out a piece of paper instead of their credit card, or when they actually make the purchase. And so it starts to triculate a little bit through that. But yeah, that's really good.
So definitely taking advantage of like social networks and friendship sort of things. Can you like gift these sorts of things?
Yeah.
Can you
yeah.
gift DealFlicks? Can you have like a button there that as soon as you see a movie you like, there's an invite a friend sort of function, so that you can send this and it like activates the idea that you could go see this with a friend.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Those types of things are really interesting, and can you guys sort of provide something that's like giving a gift to a friend, and it's like not necessarily a kickback from you, but just like offering that up.
Yeah, we actually just came out with this DealFlicks thing, and Taylor, do you guys know if we have the ability to give this out yet? I know that we were
about what?
DealFlicks?
Yes.
We can gift this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you can buy like a gift certificate and send it to a friend. And we do have a refer a friend program where you refer friends, you get $5 and that kind of, but we just came out with those and we haven't really like cracked that nut in its full form yet, but I think it will happen soon and we'd love to talk to you more.
So an interesting sort of experiment with that is a lot of people do these gifts or like this refer a friend and get money, where a lot of times that doesn't build a lot of trust because people assume that someone is doing it because they're getting money.
Right.
So often an even better way to do it when people really get behind your brand and they're excited to share is that you refer a friend and your friend gets the $5. So sort of flipping on its head in that sense, like people think you're trustworthy, you're not just trying to bribe them, and your friend thinks like, gosh, this must be really like great because they're not getting anything out of it. They're like, they like it so much that they're willing to give me this $5.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. That's really great. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely something that we want to get in there. That's a really good.
A variation on that would be just kind of a join my deal. I bought this, I'm going. If anyone wants to come, here's the link. Just go and get the discount like already. Just
want to come with me or something.
I mean, it's like well, not quite one click, but like 1 or 2 clicks. Like 1 click to get to the deal, then another one just to buy. So like people can just tag along without having to jump through too many hoops.
No, that's brilliant. So Taylor's going to be working on all these things over the over the next 3 months.
Have you guys thought about working with the board?
Oh yeah, I mean, what's funny is these guys. Yeah, these guys. I've known these guys for a long time. Actually, we used to work together way back in the day. So yeah, let's do something. Let's do something for cool. Sign me up. Absolutely.
Wait, one more question.
So when is your birthday?
Oh, yeah, my birthday was in 1983, but it was also today.
Oh, today?
So, yeah. Oh, what is this? Come on, guys. Oh, man, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
13?
I'm no longer eligible for 30 under 30. That's out. That didn't happen.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Sean.
He's 31.
Happy birthday to